Hey coin lovers and treasure hunters. Welcome back to Global Coin News. Listen carefully, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change the way you see coins in your pocket. Every day, millions of Americans spend, ignore, or discard coins without a second thought, unaware that some of the smallest pieces of currency in the United States could be worth thousands, sometimes even tens of thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving deep into the most valuable top 6 coins that collectors are hunting for in 2026. Rare United States Washington quarters, Susan B. Anthony $1 coins, and Sacagawea $1 coins. From unique mint marks to unusual conditions, these coins are more than currency. They are treasures hiding in plain sight, and understanding them could make you a smarter collector and possibly even a serious prophet. Let's get started. First up, we're diving deep into the 2000 Sacagawea $1 coin with the P mint mark, especially those strange dark tone pieces that collectors often misunderstand. Back in the year 2000, the United States Mint introduced the Sacagawea dollar as a fresh start for dollar coins. It was meant to replace the unpopular Susan B. Anthony dollar and bring new life into everyday currency. This coin honored Sacagawea, the Native American woman who guided the Lewis and Clark expedition across the American frontier. The coin wasn't made of gold, but it was designed with a special manganese brass alloy to give it that rich golden color. Millions of Americans saw it as something new, something different. But ironically, that same coin would soon be ignored, stored away, or spent without care. Over 767 million of these coins were minted in Philadelphia alone, making it one of the most widely produced modern U.S. coins. Now here's where things get interesting. Over time, many of these coins lost their original golden shine. Exposure to air, moisture, oils from hands, and environmental conditions caused some coins to turn dark brown, gray, or even black. To the average person, this looks like damage, an ugly coin. But to collectors, this discoloration is called toning. And while natural toning can sometimes add character, in most cases, especially when it appears uneven or very dark, it actually lowers the value of the coin. That blackened Sacagawea dollar you see is not rare just because of its color. In fact, it's usually a sign of circulation and environmental wear, not rarity. Let's talk about the unique features of the 2000 Sacagawea dollar. On the front, you'll see Sacagawea carrying her infant son, Jean-Baptiste, with the word Liberty, and the year 2000 along with the P mint mark just below the date. On the reverse, a soaring eagle is surrounded by 17 stars, representing the states at the time of the Lewis and Clark expedition. The coin has a smooth edge, a golden tone when new, and a slightly heavier feel than typical coins. But here's the key detail. While millions look identical, tiny differences like strike quality, surface condition, and mint errors are what separate ordinary coins from valuable ones. When it comes to rarity, this is where reality hits hard. A regular 2000 Sacagawea dollar, even one with a dark or black tone, is extremely common. Most circulated examples are only worth about $1 to $2 today. Even in decent uncirculated condition, they may only reach $2 to $6. The dark color does not increase value. In fact, it often decreases it because collectors prefer coins with original luster and clean surfaces. However, there's a twist. If that same coin happens to have a rare mint error or is in exceptionally high-grade condition, the story changes completely. Some of the most valuable 2000 Sacagawea dollars come from rare varieties. The famous Cheerios dollar, distributed in cereal boxes, can sell for $5,000 to $25,000 or more. The Wounded Eagle error, which shows a die gouge across the eagle, can reach hundreds or even over $1,000 depending on condition. And then there's the legendary mule error, one of the rarest modern US coins, selling for over $150,000 at auction. These are the coins collectors are truly hunting for, not ordinary dark-toned pieces. So what about today's market value? If your coin is heavily circulated, dark, and worn, its value will likely remain at face value, just $1. Even though it may look unusual, the market does not reward damage or discoloration. However, if your coin has a strong strike, minimal marks, and retains its original shine, it could be worth more, sometimes $21,000, $50,000. The highest grade examples, graded MS69 or MS70, have sold for thousands of dollars, but those coins are extremely rare and carefully preserved from the moment they were minted. For collectors, the biggest lesson is this: never judge a coin only by its color. A black or ugly Sacagawea dollar is usually not rare, but it still deserves a closer look. Check for unusual details, errors, sharp design features, and overall condition. Avoid cleaning the coin, because cleaning can destroy its value instantly. If you think you might have something special, consider getting it professionally graded. And most importantly, learn the difference between true rarity and simpleware, because that knowledge is what separates an average collector from a smart one. The 2000p Sacagawea dollar is a fascinating piece of modern history. It represents a new era of US coinage, carries the story of exploration, and reminds us that even the most common coins can hold hidden surprises. But the truth remains, most dark, worn examples are not treasures. The real value lies in condition, rarity, and those rare minting mistakes that turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary discovery. Next up, we're diving deep into the United States Sacagawea $1 coin from the year 2000 with the D mint mark, a coin that, in the right condition, has quietly become a collector's target and a piece of American heritage worth far more than its face value. The history of this coin begins at the turn of the millennium, when the United States Mint decided it was time to replace the unpopular Susan B. Anthony dollar with something more meaningful and visually appealing. That's when the Sacagawea dollar was introduced in 2000, honoring Sacagawea, the Native American woman who played a vital role in the Lewis and Clark expedition. Her image, carrying her infant son Jean-Baptiste, symbolized strength, guidance, and the spirit of exploration. The D mint mark on this coin tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the major production facilities responsible for circulating coinage across the country. What makes the 2000 D Sacagawea dollar truly unique begins with its appearance. Unlike traditional silver-colored coins, this dollar features a distinctive golden hue, not because it contains gold, but due to its manganese-brass alloy composition. This gives the coin a rich, warm color that immediately stands out. On the obverse, Sacagawea is depicted in a soft yet powerful portrait, designed by Glenna Goodacker, with incredible detail even in circulated examples. The reverse, designed by Thomas D. Rogers, features a soaring eagle surrounded by 17 stars, representing the states of the Union at the time of the Lewis and Clark journey. Even in fine condition, you can still see much of this detail, though slight wear will be visible on high points like the eagle's feathers and Sacagawea's hair. Now here's where things start to get interesting for collectors. While millions of these coins were minted in Denver, not all of them have survived in collectible condition. A coin described as fine condition sits in an important middle ground. It's not heavily worn, but it's also not pristine. This level of preservation still holds strong appeal, especially for collectors who want affordable yet historically meaningful pieces. However, the real rarity comes from certain varieties and errors associated with the 2000 Sacagawea dollar, such as enhanced tail feathers or special strike versions. While those are rare and command huge prices, even standard 2000 D coins in well-preserved condition are steadily gaining attention. But here's where things get interesting. Even though millions of these coins were produced, condition is everything. A coin in fine condition, meaning it shows moderate wear but still has clear details, is considered circulated. And in most cases, circulated 2000 D Sacagawea dollars are only worth around their face value of $1. That might sound disappointing, but it's actually where the collector story begins. Because while common examples are everywhere, truly well-preserved coins are much harder to find. Most coins were heavily used, scratched, and marked, which reduces their collectible appeal. In today's auction market, the value of a 2000 D Sacagawea dollar depends heavily on its grade. A typical circulated coin in fine condition usually sells for about $1,000 to $2,000. However, if you move into uncirculated grades, coins that were never used and still have their original mint luster, the value increases significantly. Coins graded MS65 can reach around $10,000 to $15,000, while high-grade examples like MS67 or MS68 can sell for $25,000 to $35,000 or more. And in extremely rare cases, near-perfect coins graded MS69 have sold for hundreds or even over $1,000. So while your fine-condition coin may be worth a fortune, the same coin in pristine condition can be dramatically more valuable. For collectors, the biggest tip is simple but powerful: never underestimate condition. Even a common coin can become valuable if it's well preserved. Always check your Sacagawea dollars for sharp details, minimal scratches, and strong color. Pay close attention to the mint mark D coins from Denver are common, but finding one in exceptional condition is far less easy than it sounds. It's also wise to store your coins properly, using protective holders to prevent further wear. And perhaps most importantly, learn to recognize the subtle differences that could turn an ordinary coin into a rare discovery. The 2000 D Sacagawea $1 coin is more than just currency. It's a symbol of American history, a tribute to an extraordinary woman, and a reminder that even modern coins can carry hidden value. What seems like a simple golden dollar could, in reality, be a collectible piece worth holding onto. Next up, I'm talking about the 1979 Susan B. Anthony $1 coin with the Philadelphia P mint mark, especially the kind most people would overlook instantly. Dark, discolored, worn down, what many would call an ugly coin. But here's the twist. Sometimes that blackened, aged appearance tells a story that collectors are starting to appreciate, and in certain cases, it can even add intrigue and value. To understand why this coin matters, you have to go back to 1979, when the United States Mint introduced the Susan B. Anthony dollar for the very first time. It was a historic release because it honored Susan B. Anthony, a key figure in the women's suffrage movement. This marked the first time a real woman, rather than a symbolic figure, was featured on circulating U.S. coinage. The coin was meant to replace the larger Eisenhower dollar and make everyday transactions easier. But almost immediately, the public rejected it. Why? Because its size and color were too similar to a quarter, leading to confusion, frustration, and ultimately, very low circulation demand. By 1981, production was halted for circulation, making earlier coins like the 1979p especially important in the series. Now let's talk about the features, because this coin has more detail than most people realize. The obverse shows a strong, bold portrait of Susan B. Anthony, facing right, with the inscriptions, Liberty, above and the year 1979 below. If you look closely, you'll find the small P mint mark just above Anthony's shoulder, indicating it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse design is equally fascinating. It features an eagle landing on the moon, a design originally adapted from the Eisenhower dollar. Around the rim you'll see United States of America and $1, along with the motto E pluribus unum. The coin is composed of a copper core with a copper nickel-clad outer layer, which is why, over time, some coins develop unusual dark or black toning depending on storage conditions, environmental exposure, or chemical reactions. And that brings us to the most misunderstood part, the black or dark, ugly, condition. In the world of coin collecting, appearance can be deceiving. A darkened Susan B. Anthony dollar is often the result of oxidation, improper storage, or environmental damage. In most cases, this lowers the coin's value significantly because collectors prefer coins with original luster and minimal damage. However, there are exceptions. If the dark toning is natural and evenly spread, some collectors actually find it desirable, especially if it creates a unique visual effect. But if the coin is heavily corroded, scratched, or worn down, it typically falls into a lower collectible category. Condition is everything in numismatics, and a coin described as ugly will usually struggle to command high prices unless it has another rare feature. Now here's where things get exciting. Not all 1979p Susan B. Anthony dollars are equal. There is a famous variety known as the wide rim, or near date, version. In this variety, the date appears closer to the rim compared to the more common, far date, version. This small difference can mean a big jump in value. Even in circulated condition, a wide rim coin can sell for significantly more than a standard example. But if you combine a rare variety with a higher grade, the value can climb even higher in today's auction market. In today's auction market, the value of a 1979p Susan B. Anthony dollar varies widely. A typical circulated coin in dark, worn condition might sell for around $1,500 to $3,000. But coins with better preservation, even with darker toning, can fetch $6,000 to $8,000 depending on eye appeal. The real jump happens with rare varieties or high-grade examples. A 1979p wide rim coin in excellent condition has been known to sell for $10,000 to $50,000 or more. And in top uncirculated grades, professionally graded coins have reached into the thousands. So yes, even a coin that looks unattractive at first glance could potentially be hiding unexpected value, if it has the right characteristics. For collectors, the biggest tip is simple but powerful: never judge a coin too quickly. That dark, blackened Susan B. Anthony dollar might not look impressive, but it could still be worth examining closely. Check the date spacing, inspect the rim, and look for any unusual features. Avoid cleaning the coin at all costs, because cleaning can permanently damage the surface and reduce its value. Instead, store it in a dry, safe environment, and consider having it evaluated by a professional grading service if you suspect it might be a rare variety. The 1979p Susan B. Anthony dollar is a perfect example of how history, design, and public perception can collide in fascinating ways. It was once rejected, often overlooked, and still misunderstood today. Yet hidden within this small, often ugly, coin are stories of innovation, controversy, and sometimes surprising value. Next up, imagine pulling out a dark, blackened, almost rusty-looking dollar coin from your pocket. It feels old, worn, maybe even damaged, something you'd normally ignore or spend without thinking. But what if that very same coin, the 1980 Susan B. Anthony $1 with a D mint mark, could actually hold collector interest, history, and in some cases, surprising value? Today, we're diving deep into the truth behind this misunderstood coin, exposing what it really is, why it exists, and whether your ugly-looking piece could still matter in today's market. The history of the Susan B. Anthony dollar begins in the late 1970s, when the United States wanted to modernize its currency system. The coin was first introduced in 1979 to replace the larger Eisenhower dollar and to create a more practical coin for everyday use. It featured Susan B. Anthony, a pioneer of women's rights in America, making it the first U.S. circulating coin to honor a real woman. By 1980, production continued across multiple mints, including Denver, identified by the small D mint mark on the coin. However, despite its historical importance, the coin was a commercial failure. People confused it with quarters because of its similar size and color, and it quickly lost popularity in circulation. This lack of use is one of the reasons why so many of these coins still exist today. Now let's talk about the unique features of the 1980 D Susan B. Anthony dollar. The coin is made of a copper core with a nickel-clad outer layer, giving it that silver-like appearance, but it contains no actual silver. It weighs about 8.1 grams and measures 26.5 millimeters in diameter. On the front, you'll see the portrait of Susan B. Anthony, along with the inscriptions, Liberty and In God We Trust. The D mint mark appears just above her shoulder, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse side, the design features an eagle landing on the moon, inspired by the Apollo 11 mission, symbolizing American achievement and exploration. Even in worn or darkened condition, these details remain identifiable, though heavy circulation can make them faint or dull. When it comes to rarity, this is where reality hits hard, and honestly, it surprises a lot of people. The 1980 D Susan B. Anthony dollar is considered rare in general. Millions were minted, over 41 million coins, so finding one is not unusual. In fact, most of these coins, especially those in circulated or damaged condition like blackened or rusty-looking pieces, are extremely common. Coins in poor condition usually have no premium value at all. However, rarity does not just come from how many were made, it comes from condition. High-grade, uncirculated coins, especially those graded MS65 or higher, can become significantly more desirable to collectors. Truly rare examples exist only in top-quality condition or with unusual mint errors. Now let's talk about what everyone really wants to know, the value. If your 1980 D coin is in dark, rusty, heavily worn condition, its value is typically around its face value of just $1,000. Even in average circulated condition, it rarely exceeds that. Slightly better uncirculated examples might sell for a few dollars, often between $5,000 and $25,000 depending on quality. Higher grade coins, like MS66 or MS67, can reach anywhere from $35,000 at auction, but those are extremely rare and professionally graded specimens. The truth is, condition is everything. A black, corroded-looking coin, while interesting visually, actually reduces value rather than increasing it, unless the appearance is caused by a rare mint error rather than environmental damage. For collectors, this coin still offers some valuable lessons. First, always check the mint mark and condition carefully. Second, never assume that an old or ugly coin is automatically rare. Damage usually lowers value, not raises it. Third, if you believe your coin might be special, consider professional grading, as certified coins carry more trust and often higher prices. And finally, look out for errors. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, or other minting mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into something worth far more than expected, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars depending on the severity of the error. The 1980 D Susan B. Anthony dollar is a perfect example of how history, perception, and reality collide in coin collecting. It's a coin that represents a major cultural milestone, yet remains widely overlooked and undervalued in everyday life, even in a dark, worn, or ugly condition. Next up, I'm talking about the United States Washington quarter from 1978, without a mint mark. To the casual eye, it's just an ordinary quarter, battered and tarnished from decades of circulation. But collectors know that even in its worst condition, this coin can hold a surprising value, sometimes hundreds of dollars, even at auction. We'll uncover the story behind this coin, its unique characteristics, why it's rare, and what it's worth in today's collector market. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1932, originally issued to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. By 1978, the coin had become a routine piece of everyday currency, struck primarily in Philadelphia and Denver, though some pieces were issued without a mint mark, indicating Philadelphia origin. While millions of these quarters were produced, certain variations, errors, and surviving coins in unusual conditions have become highly sought after. The 1978 issue falls into the latter category, especially those that have survived decades of handling in less than ideal circumstances. These coins tell a story not only of the economy of the late 1970s but also of the people who used them, the cash registers they jingled in, and the pockets they traveled in. What makes the 1978 Washington quarter without a mint mark truly unique is its subtle design and historical context. The obverse features the classic profile of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan, with Liberty, and the date 1978 prominently displayed. The reverse shows an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, clutching an olive branch, a symbol of strength and peace. Even in blackened or heavily worn condition, these details remain partially discernible, and collectors prize the natural patina and circulation marks as part of the coin's story. Some of these quarters also carry faint die variations or subtle minting inconsistencies, which, in combination with their age and condition, make them distinct from the millions of standard issues. While 1978 quarters are rare in perfect condition, the ones that survive without a mint mark and show heavy wear, dark tarnish, or even damage have an unusual appeal. Collectors often seek coins in low-grade conditions because they represent the authentic experience of money in circulation, which is much harder to preserve than mint-state coins. A black, dirty, or otherwise damaged 1978 quarter without a mint mark is particularly valuable because most coins from that era were either cleaned, polished, or lost entirely, leaving only a small number in this original, naturally aged state. In the coin market, scarcity is not just about how many coins were made, it's about how many have survived in that exact, genuine form. So, what is this coin actually worth today? Surprisingly, even in heavily worn or blackened condition, a 1978 Washington quarter without a mint mark can fetch between $100 and $500 in a collector sale. If the coin shows a rare die error or has a particularly striking dark patina, auction prices can climb higher, sometimes approaching $1,000 or more. It's important to note that while these coins aren't going to sell for thousands like some rare pennies or half dollars, the market for low-grade yet historically significant quarters is steady and often overlooked, making it a hidden gem for collectors looking for affordable yet collectible pieces. For collectors, the key is patience and careful inspection. Don't dismiss a blackened or damaged quarter. Sometimes its imperfections are exactly what make it valuable. Check for die errors, subtle minting variations, and signs that the coin has aged naturally rather than being artificially cleaned. Storage is also crucial. Even if the coin is already worn, keeping it in a proper coin holder will prevent further corrosion and preserve its collectible value. Auctions, online marketplaces, and coin shows are excellent places to find or sell these coins, but always verify authenticity, especially for quarters without mint marks, as reproductions or altered coins sometimes appear. The 1978 Washington quarter without a mint mark is far more than a forgotten piece of pocket change. It's a window into history, a testament to decades of American life, and a surprisingly valuable collectible for those who know what to look for. Even in black, dirty, or damaged condition, these coins are proving their worth in today's collector market, reminding us that beauty and value often hide in the most unlikely places. Next up, when most people hear the word quarter, they immediately think of something ordinary, just 25 cents sitting in a pocket, a vending machine, or a dusty coin jar. But what if I told you that even a simple-looking 1995 Washington quarter with a P mint mark, worn down in brownish circulated condition, could still carry hidden collector interest in today's coin market? Before you dismiss it as pocket change, let's uncover the real story behind this coin, its history, its features, and its true value in the modern numismatic world. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birth anniversary of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Designed by John Flanagan, this iconic coin became one of the longest-running designs in American history. By 1995, the United States Mint was producing billions of quarters for everyday circulation. The 1995 edition came from the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a small P, and was part of a massive production year that exceeded 1 billion coins. This enormous mintage makes it one of the most common quarters ever produced, meaning it was never intended to be rare in the traditional sense. However, the story becomes more interesting when we examine the coin's physical characteristics. The 1995 P Washington quarter is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition, with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel over a pure copper core. It weighs about 5.67 grams and measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter. The obverse features the familiar portrait of George Washington, while the reverse displays the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings. In circulated condition, especially when the coin turns brownish or dull due to environmental exposure, the original mint luster disappears, giving it a worn and aged appearance that collectors often describe as heavily circulated. Now, when it comes to rarity and collector demand, the truth is very important. A standard 1995 P Washington quarter in circulated condition is not considered rare in the general coin market. With over 1 billion minted, most examples are still easily found in circulation or coin jars today. However, condition plays a huge role in value. While heavily circulated coins like a brown-toned example usually remain at face value, higher-grade uncirculated specimens or rare era varieties can attract strong collector attention. Some mint-state examples have sold for several dollars, and exceptionally high-grade certified coins can reach significantly higher prices at auction. According to market data, most circulated pieces remain around 25 cents, while mint-state examples can range from a few dollars up to around $15 or more depending on grading quality and demand. So what about the current market value in dollars for a worn, brown circulated 1995 P quarter? In realistic terms, most coins in this condition are still valued at face value, meaning about 25 cents. Even though the coin carries historical and collector interest, circulation wear and extremely high mintage significantly limit its premium value $60,000. Only special cases such as mint errors, strong strike varieties, or professionally graded high mint state coins would push the value higher. In simple terms, unless your coin has a rare error or is in uncirculated condition, it remains a common everyday quarter in today's market. For collectors, the real tip is understanding condition and inspection. Always check your coins under good lighting and look for unusual features like doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual coloration that might not be from damage. Avoid cleaning coins, because cleaning actually reduces collector value significantly. Even a common coin can lose its originality if it is polished or scrubbed. Another important tip is to compare your coin with certified examples online or use grading references from professional services like PCGS or NGC to better understand its condition level. In conclusion, the 1995 P Washington quarter in brown circulated condition is a perfect example of how everyday money carries both history and misunderstanding. While it is a rare or high-value coin in typical condition, it still represents an important era of U.S. mint production and remains a collectible piece for beginners who are learning the hobby. Its true value lies not in its dollar price, but in its place in American coin history. And who knows, if you ever find one with a rare mint error or in perfect uncirculated condition, you might just be holding something far more valuable than 25 cents in your hand. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video about rare and valuable coins. Keep collecting, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next episode as we uncover more treasures from the world of numismatics.